And we are live. Good morning, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to the Gym in the Crypto episode 1099. Today is Friday, May 5th, 2023, and I'm King.
And I'm Big Jose, here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community, Monday through Friday at 10ish.
At 10ish, and today's top stories: darknet hackers are selling crypto accounts for as low as $30 a pop. Bitcoin BRC20 token standard becomes a new destination for meme tokens. Bhutan's DHI and BitDeer to raise $500 million to develop sustainable mining operations. Coinbase officers and board members face suit over alleged insider trading during listing. And Coinbase going international sparks community reactions. Crypto's global. And last but not least, North Carolina House passes bill banning CBDC payments to the states. But first and foremost, what's going on with those prices, Bitcoin, Zach?
Oh, yeah. So with the Bitcoin price right now, moving up and down right now, it's at $29,149, up 1.3%. Ethereum at $1,936, up 2.5%. Binance Coin at $326 is up 0.4%. XRP sitting at 46 cents is up 0.92%. Cardano at 38 cents is up 0.03%. Dogecoin at 7 cents is up 0.5%. Polygon sitting at 99 cents is up 0.9% today. And rounding out the top 10 is Solana at 22.17, up 1.28% today. And some of the trending coins include Sui, Arbitrum, and Shiba Inu making a comeback. Oh, man. And some of the recently added coins for all these degens that have stepped out into the world with Pepe. You got Steve now, you got Force, and you got El Pepito, which is just a miniature version of Pepe. But those are your dumpster dive coins if you want to be a DJ.
There it is. All right. Go ahead. I'm trying to pull up this YouTube. I was having some issues right now. So I'll have to give the shout outs in a second. Here we go. There we go. Virgo L Unico, Wisdom Bars, Junior Maley, surprise Pepe not on trending list. I was actually surprised about that too. I thought it'd be on the trending list today. Upskill Entertainment, Zyro, JB, Patrick Walter, Les Square, New Jersey in the house. Here we go. Fanteezy, Vanessa, what's going on? Michael Koo, Wendy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Let's go ahead and jump to the top story of the day. I'm not sure why this YouTube isn't working right now. I got to pull this thing up. We were talking before the show. Susan's folks, we were talking for the show. So, of course, we'll probably get back next week doing more dailies or the week after, depending on the news cycle. As you can tell, the news has been slow. Today's show is compromised. This entire week's news has been so slow. But one of the things we did see, which is one of our top stories of the day, again, Cointelegraph. Can we at least get a shout out? If you remember, folks, a couple of weeks ago, we were saying that, hey, one of the biggest scams or things that are going on in this space are the buying and reselling of accounts. We were like, hey, if you got old accounts or old wallets, you can essentially sell those to scammers and hackers and stuff. And then next thing you know, Cointelegraph ran a story on it 3 days later. So all we're asking Cointelegraph, it's like the fourth or fifth time you guys have done this directly after we've said something. At least attribute and credit things to us. We would appreciate it. But again, this is an article from Cointelegraph. Tom Mitchell Hill. Tom, we know it's you, Tom. We'll hit you up now. Cryptocurrency accounts still fetch the highest prices among hacked online accounts, according to online data security provider Privacy Affairs. And again, we're just going to briefly run through the story because we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. So it was interesting to actually see a story go into detail and depth about it. And again, this is one of the sophisticated scams that's going on in space where people are literally stealing old accounts and using those for transactions or to try to resell things. But it looks like cyber criminals, are saying, from the darkest parts of the internet, are reportedly selling hacked verified crypto accounts on the dark net for as low as just $30 a piece. And I think when we were talking shit, we did say you can get one for like 15 or 20 bucks or something. So yeah. And I mean, some of the better accounts, people, you can get, I was telling someone, like, if you have an account or wallet where its history is just like you've been doing all types of high network transactions and all that, like $20K is not a bad number for an account or a wallet. Like, you can sell your own account or wallet for $20K to some of these same folks. So they start as low as $30, but they can go pretty high. According to an April 24th research paper by online data security provider Privacy Affairs titled The Dark Web Price Index, cybercriminals have been selling all manner of fraudulently obtained financial account information on the dark web. So that's pretty cool that they actually came out with essentially an index to show what type of information is being sold on the dark web and by how much. Here are some of the prices of the ill-gotten verified crypto accounts. And again, I got to say this one more time. Whoever at Cointelegraph, at least give us a shout out, man. Because come on, like this is y'all literally running stories after we talk about it. This story literally came out like 2 or 3 days after we we out the blue just started talking about this too during the show. So like Cointelegraph,
at least let us get a sponsorship. I mean, come on, Cointelegraph.
Something. This is sickening. Come on, give us something. But yeah, getting back to the, I mean, I just had to think about it again. Zay, I was like, come on, like this is be real right here. This is getting kind of out of control. But going back to these ill-gotten verified crypto accounts, they include Kraken, where it looks like you can get an account for about $1,100, Binance $410, Crypto.com $300, Coinbase $250, and a verified US Bittrex account for $30. Again, this is, and I don't need the article to talk about this. We clearly didn't because we talked about it before the article. But again, these are the low. I would say these are the lower ones on the totem pole. Probably not that many transactions. Probably just essentially a verified account, right? But I'm telling you, if you have a verified account, for example, I have some accounts from like 2016 or whatever, right? Like those accounts are worth 20 to 30K easy. Like I've done a ton of transactions, and the reason why they're worth so much is the older the account is and the more transactions and the higher amount of transaction or the volume number or the capital amounts, the higher those are, essentially the more value you get back from it. So essentially if you're on for example, Kraken, right? And you have a verified account that you've been doing transactions for 3 years, where your daily maximums might be like something like 100 or 200K. If a hacker were to buy that, they can say, hey, I can do one type of scam, one type of scheme, and be able to withdraw 200K off this account overnight and close it down, right? Whereas if it's like this $30 verified Bittrex account, you might only be able to withdraw like maybe $2,000 within that 24-hour period. So that's just one example of how they would try to take an account and use it. Another example is, again, for old wallets or old accounts on some of these things. If they're doing sales, so I don't know, it could be something simple like, hey, you buy your car. I purchase a car from you or vice versa. You pay me in Bitcoin. I pay you in Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. Well, you're looking at this account and this wallet saying, oh, this thing's been around for 4 years, 3 years. Of course, I'm going to do a business with it or transaction with it. And the next thing you know, you get scammed. And that's because in the ninth inning, it was either hacked or that account was resold or whatever. And they use that to further scam people. So that's why it's important to kind of pay attention to this. It looks like these figures mark a significant increase from the prices paid for the same account details in 2022, which again makes sense to me because as years go on, all those verified accounts every year will be worth more. So if you just open up an account right now, any of these things, and you verify it and you do 2 transactions and you never touch it for the next year, is already worth something. So this may be a new hustle we see in the space, which is why, Zay, you said this years ago when exchanges used to tout the amount of new wallet owners or people who signed up. We used to joke and be like, well, I've signed up for 6 wallets on this one exchange. Like, what do you mean? Like, why does this matter? So this kind of goes into it when these, you get Kraken and Coinbase, or Coinbase is the biggest example when they were trying to go public. And again, we're not faulting the general public or even some of these institutions because they didn't know better. We do fault them for not looking for the right answer. But when Coinbase was going public, one of the reasons why they got that $100 billion valuation is because they were saying things like, well, we have like, there's 100 new wallets being created every day, for example, right? Not knowing, well, Zay's creating 20 of them there and I'm creating 30 of them. So that accounts for 50 new wallets on one exchange from 2 people, not from 50 new people. But that's the way the rhetoric was. They're like, hey, look at all these new wallet addresses we have popping up. And it's like they were saying this is our new volume coming in. But the reality is that could have been the same exact person creating new wallet addresses. So, things like that are like some of the newer hustles in the space, which is why you might see an exchange with like 10,000 new wallet signups a day or whatever. And it's like, no, not really. It's really just somebody that's signing up and reselling them. You got any other thoughts on this story? I mean, again, we kind of covered it already, but what are your thoughts now that's written?
Yeah, this is actually an old hustle. This is, something that started when people started getting kicked off of exchanges. Remember Poloniex, BitMEX, Bittrex back in the day, some of these other exchanges. This is actually a pretty old hustle, but you're right. People that have that track record for years, like if you had it, for 4 or 5 years or whatnot, they seem to be more trustworthy. So those accounts will go for more money. One thing I will say about the exchange prices, good old shit track sitting at $30 because nobody wants to use that bullshit. Fuck you, Bill.
Right.
But nah, honestly, this article is from Cointelegraph is surprising because this is an old hustle, and us just mentioning it the other day, just kind of in passing, and then them now writing about it is funny. But This goes on all the time. It's not just crypto exchanges. This is for all accounts of anything ever. Simply because anytime you have a verified account, it is going to be valuable because you can use it, you can do credit card transactions, whatever. But the one thing I want to throw out to you, King, do you think artificial intelligence will kill KYC? Because I see artificial intelligence isn't all the way there. I might have 8 fingers, might have a droopy eye, nose might not be there. But if we learned anything from technology, that if your only problem is scaling, then you don't have any problems because it's going to happen. Technology is getting faster and faster. So we have AI that can possibly detect your face or detect a face, and AI can basically, you can use that as a way to get KYC or to get these accounts. Hey man, AI, it has a chance. I'm not saying it will, but I'm sure somebody will make an AI tool to combat it. But I'm telling you, as smart as AI is, what if they're able to fake the face or fake? I don't even want to get into how deep AI can be.
I'm actually I'm with you on that. I think that's possible, and I think that would actually happen first. I think the response would be reactive. The stopping of it would be reactive. I agree with you. I think that would happen first, and then trying to stop it. And so let's be clear here, people. We've heard it first now. What if we use AI to stop KYC or to go around it? I just want to be clear. I'm saying it like this for a reason. So literally, in the next Wednesday, when Cointelegraph and somebody from there writes, hey, what if AI was used to actually get around verification? Like literally, we're gonna spam them to fucking death that day because this is like their 4th or 5th time doing this. We gave them so many. You remember last time they did it, all of a sudden when we talking about temperature checks, who even talk about temperature checks outside of people who be outside? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So ain't nobody who not outside even say it, but all of a sudden it popped up in like 3 Cointelegraph articles the next week after we said it. Stop it, Cointelegraph. Knock it off, all right? This is a symbiotic relationship. We love you all just as much as you love us. At least we mention your names. Can we get it back? Really quick, I was going to mention a real world example of where I fell victim to this, folks. And again, everybody wants to talk regulation, but there hasn't been any help. And from a regulatory viewpoint for people who've been scammed like me, right? So I was on when I was on local Bitcoins, local Bitcoin accounts can be basically voted on or whatever, reviewed, so you know who's real actors and who's fake. One of the accounts that I actually worked with in the past, I was working with again, and again, it was something like I was trying to get like a couple thousand worth of Bitcoin or whatever, right? This is years ago. I do, I send them the Bitcoin or whatever, they send me the money, blah, blah, something, whatever, right? And essentially that account on local Bitcoins had either been hacked as they claimed or resold, but a scammer had that account. And when I did everything, I did it through PayPal. They essentially called their bank and said that the transaction was fake or something was wrong. They never verified the transaction, and they got the money back through like a chargeback or something. It was just crazy process.
But they kept the Bitcoin. Yeah,
they kept my Bitcoin in the cash, and PayPal was like, hey, you don't have a business account. The only way we can protect you is with a business account. I'm like, oh man, the scams of whether you're a legitimate company or illegitimate, like just tell me how much money you want from me, so I can do business. Right?
What do you want from me?
Right. But my whole thing was that's how it worked, people. It was a verified account. It had literally, forget hundreds. It had like thousands of reviews and ratings on it. And I used it previously. I thought it was safe. It was one of my little starred and saved favorite accounts. I thought I was safe, and nope. They claimed they were hacked. People, this is around the time a lot of local Bitcoin, it wasn't just them. It was a lot of local Bitcoin accounts all of a sudden being hacked or resold. It was resold. I'm not stupid. It got resold, and they literally just went through that entire list of people they did transactions with and tried to redo transactions, and it worked. They got me. I'm sure they got many other people. But this is how the verification or the reselling of these accounts, that's how that hustle kind of works. They get an account that's worth something, they hit up people. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, they did the same thing, not just with peer-to-peer accounts, with lending. It was an old exchange like 2014, 2015, BTC Jam. It was pretty good. It worked off the same thing: social credit score. The more completed loans you pay back, the higher your score, and all this. And there was somebody with an A+ rating. They had done over 1,000 trades, and then like a lot of people on the message boards were saying, "Don't use them. They've been hacked. Somebody has been taking it over." Because when you got 1,000 something trades and you got 99% score, you got an A+, everybody's trying to do trades with you, right? So all it takes is one person to hack it, or for them to have sold it on the dark web. They might have sold it on the dark web for like 50K, because in one day they took like $200,000 worth of loans and never paid back.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like how quick it's happening.
Yeah, yeah. So
like I gave one person 2,500 in like 5 minutes. So
yeah. And
that's just one.
They only got to do it one. They just need one day of people doing this, and then they basically just run off with it, and then they just never use the account again, and then they may resurface as somebody else. Who knows? But these accounts are real, and this story just proves it to you.
Real quick shout out to Humney Developers. Say I graduate today, Roll Tide. So I'm assuming Alabama. Shout out to you. There we go. Hey,
shout out Humney, Roll Tide.
Hey, much love, Jim and the Crypto and all the Warriors. Happy Fuck Bitcoin Friday and FPF Pepe Fuck Pepe Friday and Single Day Mile. And happy birthday to the late great granddad of mine. There we go. Happy birthday to the granddad. Congratulations, Roll Tide.
Cinco de Mayo, baby. I got a T-shirt with words I can't even.
Drinko. Roll Tide, love mess with Alabama for sure. Wait, the Roll Tide's Alabama, right?
Yeah, Roll Tide.
Who else is down there? Who they rivals? Huh?
Auburn.
Hey, here we go. You know what I'm saying? Auburn. There we go. Hold on. Hey, you know what? And also on that announcement, shout out. We're gonna be talking about this again. Shout out to North Carolina, the first state to allow high school students to have their own NIL deals, name, image, and likeness. Shout out to North Carolina. Shout out to the high school students. I hope a 14-year-old becomes a millionaire playing football in high school and say, no, I'm not going to college. I'm not going to school, because you go to college to get a job. Stop telling people to go back to college after they have a job and they made money. Oh, they're going to go. Stop all this stupid shit. No, I don't want to watch a TV show about an NBA player that went back to college. People go to college to get a job. You already had a job and you have millions. So what? What you did is called reading. You learned on your own, all right? So no, I hope to see a high schooler become so wealthy off their NIH, the NIL deal, that they forgo college, they start businesses, and they show everyone, look, I'm just as valuable as you, and I didn't have to go jump through a million hoops. All right, for college is for some people. Of course, we want our doctors and lawyers to go there, but for others, listen, if you have the money up front and you know how to read a book, you're fine. Go about life.
What Deion Sanders said, he's like, I'm not getting linebackers that go to class.
Exactly. Yeah, straight up.
That have good grades and manners.
Yeah.
No. I need dogs. I need things that eat with their hands.
I don't want no nice. Listen, I want no nice.
I want no nice young man. Get the nice young man at quarterback.
Yeah. Hey, I never mentioned his name. All right. Also, Humney made a comment that I want to talk about really quick. He said, do you think the exchanges themselves are reselling the accounts on the back end? So
yes.
But I'll actually say no.
No, I can confirm that's true.
Well, never mind. Damn it.
I was saying, I know somebody that was working at I'm not even going to say the exchange. It's gone down. It's an old exchange. But it's a team of developers that out of Europe, they jump from exchange to exchange because they have basically the template for setting up an exchange from scratch really quickly. Mm-hmm. And then the thing is, once they pull in the data of all the people, all they do is just on the back end, they sell it on the dark end. Crypto is a wild game. When you meet some people who have the real inside track, we start meeting like we have the Brock Pierce people and some of the people like Max Kaiser, some of the people that actually know what goes on behind the curtain. That's why it's so hard for me to talk to people, because I'm like, no, that's not how it happened. This is what happened. There's a team of developers that can copy and paste code of an exchange. It's a game of whack-a-mole. They can't stop them all. So all they have to do is just keep siphoning money out of people with new exchanges. And then they leave out KYC, or they sell KYC accounts on the back end, get some big whales in there, and that money starts moving. How do you think FTX had all those billions moving that Sam and nobody knew exist? Trust me, the devs, they probably had something to do with that too. That's how it happens. If you ain't know people, welcome to the real world. Adults be lying.
Right. That's what the show gonna be called. Welcome to the real world. Oh man. Let's see. Well, we spent a lot of time on that, so let's go ahead and jump some more stories. I know you got to run today as well. Bitcoin BRC20 token standard has now become a new destination for meme tokens. what's going on with the BRC20 token market cap and what's going on with this Pepe token and the rest. You know, before we start, I want to, you know, Zay, listen, people, I be mad at Zay some mornings. I be like, hey, why we ain't jump on this new coin? But you know what? He always makes a great point to me. He's like, listen, man, for every Pepe that just launched, there was another 100 more that we could have mentioned that didn't do what it just did. So just remember that, folks. If you ever feel like you're missing out, you're FOMOing, yes, Pepe's the cool kid today, but Zay is actually right this morning. It was not the only one. It was the popular one. So with that being said, BRC20 is here. There's new meme coin tokens popping up on it. Tell us about this new standard and about Pepe coin. What's going on here?
Oh, yeah. So BRC20, if you don't know, much like ERC20, it allows programmers to create and send fungible tokens via the Ordinals protocol, which has, basically exploded the last 3 months. Although modeled after ERC20, the BRC20 token standard fundamentally differs from its Ethereum-based counterpart. They don't make use of smart contracts. The token standard also requires a Bitcoin wallet to mint and trade these tokens. This should cut back on all of the rug pulls and devs that get hacked, and smart contracts with one line of code that's wrong, that execute improperly, mess up the liquidity pool. All of these things we've seen in ERC20 tokens. Now this came on home to Bitcoin, the actual most secure chain, and it was created early in March by anonymous on-chain analyst called Damo, and the market cap has exploded the past month. Currently sits at 120 million, a 600% rise in the past week. And this is one thing that I think Bitcoin maxis have to understand is that
I'm about to talk shit too, and I'm not even a maxi. I'm about to talk shit. Don't you worry. Go ahead.
And I keep trying to explain this to my Bitcoin friends who they go hard like I go hard, but I'll keep trying to explain to them. You don't understand human psychology if you think all of this stuff wasn't going to happen. Do you think that people looked at Bitcoin, which is the separation of money and state, maybe the best invention since the internet, and they still chose NFTs? Do you think once they come to Bitcoin that people aren't going to use it? People like stupid shit. If you have not looked out into the broad landscape of entrepreneurship, look at the shit that people buy, look at how people make decisions, and you have to realize 80% of people are not going to get it. The money and state and the velocity of money and the NSA, cryptography and all, they don't give a fuck. They want Pepe. They want stupid shit. They want,
and it's frustrating. That's what I started this morning with. People, I'm being honest when I say this. I'm not there, and I would never acknowledge it because it's like, I'm a fighter. But like this, for me in this space, this is the shit that will lead me to depression, because it is literally like you said, we're talking about the future of the economic system to change the way we vote, to change the way leadership in regions are ran. I mean, literally, Bitcoin can change the way human beings listen to other human beings or decide to not listen. And instead, we're saying, oh no, let's throw 15 million into Pepe coin, which on its actual website says we're not nothing. We're not trying to do nothing. We're not going to be nothing. We just like, could you imagine, like, I guess, like, could you imagine marrying someone who said, I ain't nothing, I never going to be nothing, I'm not trying to be nothing. Like, I ain't shit. I'm telling you, I ain't shit. You like,
it's a whole bunch of women get pregnant by men like that, and then be mad.
So my thing is like, it's mind blowing. And then these are also the same people who will argue to death about how the dollar is good and the traditional way, how Bitcoin and all. And it's just like how all cryptos is scam. And it's just like, it's depressing. It's disheartening and depressing. I got to be honest. And also, I want to say with that point, Pepe coin or whatever the next meme coin being a popular thing. Again, I look at Bitcoin like a calculator, Zay. Mm-hmm. And I don't hear people saying, how do you make money off a calculator? They appreciate a calculator for being a calculator. Yeah. We use it every day. We use it all day. But for some reason, we still can't get around the fact that Bitcoin is a technology. It's still the money grab. So I'm with you on the human psychology, but it's like literally going to make my head explode one day, bro. Like, it's going to make, because again, these are going to be the same people. Let something go wrong in the government today, or let somebody say some, oh, protest this. We need to do this. And it's like, how are you going to do it on the dollar, motherfucker? Like, tell me. Tell me.
I say it all the time on Twitter. It's like all these warriors, social justice warriors, and all these people that are fighting for something. How? On a fiat standard, you're not doing nothing but yelling into the void. And again, you have people who have mentally been brainwashed. We all have. We've all been mentally brainwashed by the fiat system. So we think, for some reason that people aren't going to be stupid enough to fall for these tricks, but we just We see it all the time. We see it over and over. It's a pattern of it. So why would you think that would be any different in the crypto market? I mean, people didn't just wake up tomorrow and become smarter. Like I said, it takes a change of mindset to be in Bitcoin. That's very hard to change. So
quick question for you. Quick question. Does this total market cap, does this also go into Bitcoin's market cap as well?
No. This is just BRC20 tokens by itself.
Exactly. So that's my point, folks. 118 million. So when everybody's talking about the price of Bitcoin, and this is why we do not focus on prices that much here. We focus more on value. We focus on value because you are not telling me that these things have the same value as Bitcoin. And I know for a fact they don't, because they actually, for example, Pepe said that they don't. But yet and still, we got 118 million going toward this market. So I mean, truly incredible. I will say that it's definitely a testament to human psychology for sure.
It will be $1 billion market by the end of this year, and we will see.
I believe it. I believe it. So here's a real question before we move on: is this the death of ERC20?
I believe it's the start of it. It's not completely the death because Ethereum still has a lot of developers. But when you start putting in $100 into some of these projects on Ethereum, the price goes up, and then the gas fees are more than what the money you made. That's gonna kill Ethereum. Because I've seen somebody go from $50 to $7,000 in trading, and then when they tried to move it, the gas fees was like $4,000.
Like, well, no, we in our classes we showed all the time when I'm doing stuff on the DeFi side and all that. The gas fees easy. I mean, it's literally, we show people. Usually, I try to do smaller transactions to show like, hey, you don't have to be rich to be in this market. But I think we've kind of settled right now, at least on when we're talking Ethereum, anything, people, minimum has to be, I would say, $80, $75 is a minimum, and that's like really 100, but about 75. And the reason why is because right now the way gas fees are, you're looking at about, to get capital on board to the ERC20, all that, you're looking at about $14 when it's all said and done, and then to pull it off about $14. So this is an average. So it could go a lot higher. It could go a lot lower if you're doing it, 4 a.m. type of deal. But that's $30 just to move the capital. So again, you're talking about $75, and you only got $40 to play with, $45 to play with. So again, I think 100 is kind of like the safe bet right now at this point. So I will start telling people like, yeah, you need at least $100 to start to jump into certain parts of the game. If you're just buying a hold, and that's different, right? But if you're actually moving stuff, then different story. You definitely need a little bit.
And remember this: proof of stake is different from proof of work. You're paying a fee for a validator to validate your transaction. You're not paying for electricity. So this is greed.
I don't think people understand that too. This is straight greed. Yeah. Explain that one more time. Proof of stake, proof of work. What are you paying for? What's that gas fee for?
Yeah, proof of stake, you're paying a gas fee to a network that can validate your transaction. These validators on proof of stake can be purchased. 32 ETH, you're a validator. The thing is, in proof of work, you're paying for the electricity that miners are using in order to validate that transaction. So you're actually, the fees that you're paying Bitcoin, even though they're quote unquote high right now, high is $3, $4. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
High fees is like, well, I think I've sent some, it was like 68 cents. So it's not that high. And then of course you still have Lightning Network, but proof of stake just shows that Ethereum is just nothing but greed, baby. Nothing but greed, because they are taking, like right here, somebody said it cost them $46 to move $3 to ETH. Exactly. A lot of people don't realize that these greedy validators from Ethereum are just going to eat up every time there's an increase in volume. It's going to
the fees gonna go. Why not? Because you can't control it. Yeah, or you can control it.
You can control it. Yeah. What you gonna say? Oh man, I don't want to trade my ETH right now. I'm up 100%. I gotta hold it long term. It's like, that's just a shit show. I expect a lot of ERC developers to run towards BRC20, especially if they have the development skills. Definitely.
There it is. All right, I want to make sure we get a couple more stories in case I lose you. North Carolina House passes bill banning CBDC payments to the state. I told Zay before the show today was like one of the first days. Like, I've never been so much prouder than North Carolina than I am today, people. You understand? So hand clap to North Carolina. God damn. Only took 100 and some years, but you talk about finally getting things right. North Carolina literally in a 24-hour period has said we're going to pay high school athletes, i.e. we're going to pay human beings who work and make money. We're going to pay them what they're due. That's crazy, right? Yeah, so we're going to pay high school athletes, And again, really quick, people, I understand if you're in some well, actually, no, if you're in a big city, you would not understand. But for anybody who's in any bumfuck place, i.e., anywhere along the Bible Belt, South, Midwest, you all understand high school football and how big it is in these places that don't have much else going on Friday night. So I'm talking about the whole town, whole cities clearing out with shit closes at literally 6 o'clock, 5:30 p.m. Things are closing down. Like, no, we're gonna be at the game tonight. So shout out to North Carolina for that. And then shout out to North Carolina also for being the first state to pass a bill banning CBDC payments to the state. Woo! Yeah. Oh my goodness. Bitcoin Zay, what is going on in your home state of North Carolina?
Hey man, well, if people have noticed, my home state of North Carolina, they banned the CBDC state and my CBDC payments, and my new state, Florida, they also banned CBDC payments. I'm telling you all, if you actually want to be on a Bitcoin standard, move to a state that is banning CBDCs, because
we're not going to take it.
That's the first step, but we're not going to take it. Because if you got a governor, or if you got a Senate, or if you have a state Congress that's pushing back for you, it takes a little bit of load off your back. So on May 3rd, 118 members of the state's legislative body agreed to pass House Bill 690, with only 2 reps absent and none voting against the bill. The latest version of the legislation aimed to prohibit individuals from using CBDCs for any payments to the state, as well as bar the Federal Reserve from using North Carolina as a potential testing ground for its CBDC pilot. So, like I've said before, for those of you who can see what's coming, we have 3 times as much money lost from banks as the 2008 crisis, and we're just getting started. If you can see the dollar is getting is devaluing, you can see the economy is going to shit. You can see the CBDC rollout coming. Find you a great state of North Carolina or the great state of Florida where they're banning it, and I'll guarantee you that in these states there will be a big push for, okay, well, if we're not going to use CBDC, what's the other option? And all our Bitcoiners will be sitting there waiting for you, open arms, saying, finally, you finally figured it out. And here in Florida, they've already started, because Tampa Bitcoin group is strong, Miami Bitcoin group is strong, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando. So when they ban CBDCs, this is great to see. Great news, because we actually have some strong leaders who understand CBDCs are a trap, and nobody wants to. I mean, they can play into the Bible Belt shit. All they got to do is come out and say, "Are y'all really going to accept the mark of the beast?" Right. Revelations told you. Revelations told you not to accept the mark of the beast. Why would you do that? That's all they got to do. You get every single person in the Bible Belt is CBDC.
Listen, I am so happy. I am an American of American. Like, I've lived in so many states and places in this country, and I love it myself for it, because it's like I've experienced it. And I always tell Californian people when they're like, I don't understand this. I'm like, literally majority of California haven't been past Las Vegas, Nevada, to be honest. So most of them haven't been most of California haven't passed in Mississippi, unless they passed it on the way to California, because there's so many transplants, of course. But the people from here haven't went east of the Mississippi. They don't have no clue about the Bible Belt. Like, they don't even understand the thought process, nothing. They're really still like, Trump cheated. Trump got, they really like Trump got a bunch of fake votes. I'm like, no, there is a I say that to say, I'm glad you mentioned the Bible Belt and its influence on cultural things, such as something like Bitcoin and the voting of it, because you're absolutely right. People do not understand how simple they can put this. If states like North Carolina were to be like, hey, this shit is not Christian, they will, people the same way they're trying to trick normal people into saying Bitcoin and crypto is only for shadowy, super hooded coders or whatever they said, and it's only for criminals. The same way they do that rhetoric and people blindly listen, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, all them states have the same ability to be like, CBDCs are not for Christians, period. People won't even ask you anything else. What do you mean? It won't be a what do you mean? It won't be a question, because now you're questioning God. It will end in its track. So I'm with you on that. It'll be interesting to see. As we can already see, it looks like conservative states are already starting to draw a line. Interesting, though, to see North Carolina actually come out and say it, because, of course, Bank of America is in his backyard. North Carolina is like a baby version of Wall Street, essentially. So they must have, to me, already heard an inside track from the Bank of America cronies trying to push it, and it looks like this is their public response to Bank of America, right? So they're not directly going at them, but there's no other bank there. If a bank were to launch a CBDC in North Carolina, it's JP Morgan versus Bank of, maybe Wells Fargo. We're looking at 3 banks to do it possibly. So I think this is their direct response to them, but on a public forum so that everybody's kind of alert and they didn't call them out. But yeah, it is what it is. I guess no CBDCs. I wonder how this is going to affect the state.
Hey man, we're gonna have a. I think America is gonna splinter into different states and different sections. I think we're gonna be the United Areas of America in like 20 years. Because for one thing, if you like certain things, for your politicians, there's certain states you can't live in. Like so many people live in New York and California for that reason, because of high taxes and just stupid leadership. But then you also throw in the Bitcoin versus CBDC battle. The states that are Bitcoin friendly versus the ones that are not, they're going to thrive, while the CBDC heads are going to be sitting there with their government token.
Got them Florida bugs.
I left the door open. Yeah. With their government tokens, trying to figure out if they can buy meat this week. That's going to be your choice. So
it's about to get dark, folks. I'm calling it. Hey, it's going to get dark as this LA sky. Y'all see this has been our weather all year. Ain't no summer here this year, all right? It ain't no summer in LA this year. It's 60 degrees every day, 50 degrees. I don't know what this BS is, but listen, this is what I think is going to happen. I hope it does not, but more than likely, I think there's a strong percentage chance of it happening. North Carolina just did something super dangerous, people. Every time you stand against a bank, someone dies or a war happens, period. Literally, like, this is not me being, this is not me exaggerating conspiracy, none of that. You stand against banks and banksters, wars, and people get killed. They control debt, they control crises, they can get people in and out of office, not just in America, but on the planet. There has literally been so many underground wars started by banksters. This is why a lot of people hate bankers worldwide. I say all that to say this line North Carolina just drew, keep watching. In the next 6 months, somebody's about to get this heart attack, bro. Something, and one of these representatives, I think something's going to happen. So if we get any representative that just suddenly dies, this is why I think. And then the second thing to be on the lookout for, toward the end of this year in North Carolina, if not early next year, but I think all this will happen this year because the happening will kind of speed things up. An attack's going to be on the state, not like a terrorist attack or anything. No. I mean, like, something's going to happen where the banks are like, just watch. Federal funding is going to get pulled. Like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Something's going to happen where it's like, oh, we're not doing CBDCs, North Carolina. Cool. We'll take that. So I'm guessing a heart attack for a couple of people, and I'm guessing some sort of attack. Again, I'm not talking about some physical attack. It can be something as simple as this political party all of a sudden is happening. But it will be some type of that black swan event where you're just like, wow, how did that just happen to North Carolina this year? Remember this day, folks. Remember this day. All right. What else do we have going on? Coinbase, really quick. We got to talk about this Coinbase insider trading story because, once again, we like to be proven right on here when everyone says we're conspiracy theorists, we're looking crazy, we got a tinfoil toboggan on. Nope. Looks like Coinbase officers, board members face suit over alleged insider trading during listing. What show was it that says, hey, Coinbase is not worth $100 billion? What was the first show back in 2018 that says, and I remember us doing it because Coinbase, within a 2 or 3 week span, hired the Facebook director of marketing, and then they sent someone. Yep, and then they sent someone over to Facebook to work from Coinbase, and around the same time, they hired an executive from TD Ameritrade who used to work for them. And we said back in 2018 when those two hires came on, the only reason you are hire someone as big as the director of marketing from Facebook and then an executive from TD Ameritrade is if you're planning to get your company ready to go public. That's why you need a big marketing person. You need somebody who's done it before. And that's essentially what they did. I bring all that up because in 2018, we were guessing the valuation of Coinbase. And at the time, we had started off thinking about $16 to $18 billion. But by the end of that year, in the next year, we had kind of settled on about 30 to 40 billion at the highest of highs it would go. Well, of course, we know Coinbase ended up getting as high as $100 billion. We thought that was way overvalued. And then after it went public, it essentially just dropped, literally dropped. And we were like, hey, foul play once again. We've seen this before on Coinbase when they listed Bitcoin Cash. You weren't allowed to trade it. You weren't allowed to sell it or buy it until after a few hours, after a bunch of trades and buys and sales have been mysteriously made. Roger Ver came out and said market manipulation is not illegal in this market, essentially affirming that, yes, there had been some type of insider trading going on. So once Coinbase was listed, we essentially said, hey, this, like, they've done this before. We know they're insider trading because they've done it. But people still were like, no, you guys are crazy, blah, 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 government regulation, blah, blah. Well, it looks like we got another dub, Bitcoin Zay. The suit charges the alleged insider traders saved over $1 billion by selling their shares when the company went public, despite knowing they would lose value. Again, this is what we are trying to tell people. And again, I hope these institutions I try to work with are listening, because they bought Coinbase after we had this discussion. And you should have saw the face that they gave me. It's a multi-billion-dollar institution. I won't name them. But they were like, when I told them my analysis of Coinbase, their jaw dropped. And they was like they just couldn't believe it. And I was like, just watch. And they've been losing money ever since. So I think they believe me now. But again, this is despite knowing the public will lose value. They did this insider trading. This is Coinbase officers, board members, and others. Again, this is a shareholder has filed a stockholder derivative complaint against some of the company's executives and board members, claiming they profited from an inside information during the company's public listing. CEO Brian Armstrong and well-known venture capitalists are among the defendants. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so this is exactly how every IPO listing works. The inside group has all of the stocks, has all of the capital. They go public. The FOMO from going public pushes the price over the course of a few days or a week. The insiders, then they trade it. They trade in their stock. They get their money. And then next thing you know, you have a bunch of rich people who are in the insiders. And then the people who want to buy later, they end up getting dumped on, which is what has happened continually every year since Coinbase has went public, which is what, 2019. Every year has been worse than the last. So if you look at who got rich, just follow the money. That's all you have to do. And
that's really all you got to do.
118 million. Brian Armstrong, 291 million. Chief Product Officer Surajit Chatterjee sold 61.8 million. Emily Choi, 223. I mean, it goes down the list. I think even Nas was in that group. A few other people that made like 50 million, 60 million here.
Like, look at these numbers that people were making. The COO. What I tell you when we first link back up? Didn't I say operations get the most money on the low? Remember how you say that all the time? The operations officer got $200 and essentially $24 million.
Yeah.
Holy shit. How much? Go ahead.
Well, and see, this is why when the whole ICO craze was happening, I wasn't really mad. Like some people were, a lot of Bitcoiners especially, was like, this is terrible. This isn't real finance. This isn't real economics. This isn't real. But I was like, all they did with ICO was shorten the process and increase the number of people that can be involved. That's it. Because they've been doing this with IPOs for 100 years. Literally, you work, you build a company, and then you go, quote unquote, go public. And then once you go public, all those insiders, that's their payday. All going public means is I get paid today. You get your 100 million, you get out, and then you keep a few of the shares just for long term, because you're playing with house money at this point. If I just got 219 million,
keep that 2% kickback
of my stocks, and then I'll look at it in 20 years. Like maybe you're done. You can officially basically retire at that point. You did your job. That was it. So when ICOs were doing it, they were like, yeah, we gave 20% to founders. They pumped it the first few days, and then it was up 800%, and then dumping on people. People were mad, like, oh, you rug pulled. Nigga, look at the Coinbase's chart. Down 83% all time. And this is a stock.
And that's actually good. It's actually good because it was down 92% or something. Yeah, so you get percent back. This is crazy.
We've been doing this shit. Look at every popular company. Look at when they IPO and look at the price 6 months to a year after it. And you'll see exactly what I mean. They do the same shit. The difference is, we keep telling you, humans aren't that different. The only thing is what's legal and what's illegal is depending on one group versus the other group. The ICO people were illegal. These people are legally pumping and dumping, and then ICOs were illegally pumping. That's all it is. Still a pump and dump or a rug pull or whatever you want to call it. They grab their parachute and they jump the fuck out. That's basically what it is. So who cares what happens now?
And really quick, when it comes to the Coinbase stock, I don't understand why you would even invest in it right now, like, or ever again. And here's why. Again, we've already mentioned exchanges, how long they last. Coinbase has been lasting longer than others, but that's because they went public. But even so, as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency continues to proliferate, there will be competition. So there is no, like, here's my thing, people. There is no way Coinbase reaches a $100 billion valuation again, which means that price point will go back up to $340 some a share, unless the overall market increases substantially to that effect. And then it would really be, oh, I got my Coinbase stock from $55 to $300. And it'll be like, yeah, but Bitcoin went from 30K to 150K. So what, like, did you really win, or did, like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I guess it's a way to diversify at this point, but it is literally, I would debate anybody, like, including, I might need to get Kathy on here to debate. I would debate anyone as far as investing in Coinbase being a terrible move. There is no, if you are going to invest in Coinbase, you literally might as well do Bitcoin direct. There's literally no reason. The competition will continue to increase, which is going to devalue it. Clearly they don't have the standing. Like, the only way Coinbase gets back to that valuation aggressively where it's worth investing is if the government says we're not messing. If the United States government has come out and says we're not messing with any other exchanges but Coinbase. Coinbase is the new Federal Reserve. That's the only way you're getting your money back on it. And unless they come out and say Coinbase is new Federal Reserve, I don't understand this as an investment at all.
Yeah, well,
all right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I don't get it either, but yeah, that's pretty much what Coinbase was going for. That's what it was.
And we're not going to cover it because I know you got to run, but essentially Coinbase has now went international as well. They do have an international Coinbase now, so it looks like it's beneficial. The Coinbase International Exchange is here. Really quick, any thoughts on that? I mean, we kind of saw this coming. Shout out to Coinbase, I guess, for holding out this long, but I'm glad that they did it because it shows the United States government, like, yo, I don't know what's wrong with the psychos there. We don't have to stay here and listen to you. You're a bunch of humans. We're a bunch of humans. What's going to happen? We'll die one day? Like, what are you talking about?
That's what I be saying. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Especially people that claim that there's, you know, afterlife or there's something afterwards. What are you scared of? You should be running in these people's face every day.
Listen, but all you know me, I'm excited to see what happens next. They don't get me started. Go ahead.
I wake up every morning excited. But all the Europeans and other countries, they get to have all the fun. They get up to 5x leverage. What do we get here? Spot buys and terrible exchange user experience whenever the price goes up. That's some bullshit. But Coinbase is doing what I think they should have done a long time ago. They should have been looking at non-U.S. jurisdictions to make their home, because the United States is going to do exactly what we said a school bully does. Take your lunch money and then watch you grovel as you try and get it back from them. But them shoes are already hanging from the power line. Y'all already copping pleas, talking to the Congress. Please, you made a fucking thoughtful video, Brian Armstrong. Please, guys, could you give us some regulatory clarity so that we can operate in it? They probably sitting back dying laughing at that shit. But I mean, I would groveling at Gary Gensler's feet. But whatever. That's what they have to do to stay in business. Is what they have to do. I don't think they'll go away completely. However, I don't think that they will be as successful as they thought they would be by listening to regulations. All it did was get them caught up, get Wells notices, and now they can't use the borrow platform. You can't use the lend platform, and they're on trial now for insider trading. Come on now.
Quick question before you go, because I do see people. I'm sorry about triggering everybody. Everybody joking like we feel attacked in the comments. All right, I didn't know that. Some people are saying that, like Jake said, that he's investing in Coinbase through his IRA because they don't allow him to get Bitcoin. So okay, so that's fair. I get their IRAs though.
Oh yeah, IRA. Well, you get a Bitcoin IRA, but if you just want exposure,
well, and that's what JM said. JM said you can get the Bitcoin IRAs, but
shit, if you want exposure, buy Bitcoin mining company stocks like Riot, like whatever, because as the price of as the hash rate increases, value goes up. Actual value, not the price. As the hash rate increases, those companies are just automatically get value. So if you want to invest in Bitcoin companies, do that. And then also too, MicroStrategy. Bank of America, BlackRock, all of them have exposure to Bitcoin. Even Warren Buffett, he has exposure to Bitcoin via MicroStrategy. So if you want that, I think MicroStrategy, mining stocks, they're all better than Coinbase.
Having my morning coffee with you all. Good morning. What's going on, Michael? Good morning to you too. I was going to ask you something before I let you go about it though. And hold on, I don't want to forget. It was going to be a great question. A few people say they can't do it or they're doing it because of the IRA. Oh, here's what I was going to ask. Coinbase, since they're going international, does their international business affect their stock price?
Technically, yes, it adds to its value.
So that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The only way I'll actually change that, if they become the leading exchange in another country. When I say leading, I don't mean like the number one by volume. I mean what I said before, how I said the United States says the new Federal Reserve is Coinbase. I can see that happening in a smaller country. But my point is, it would need something to the effect of that. It would need them, like, for example, El Salvador. Coinbase is our main everything, our bank. They're going to do it like, and I can see Coinbase doing that for a small country, not El Salvador, but I can see them going to a smaller country, banking issues and everything. It says, let us come be your Federal Reserve, Coinbase. So I will take that back. If they can make a move, they can pull off a move like that, then yeah, it would still be worth the buy. But here's the deal, people. I don't see the people who is groveling to the United States being able to pull off a home run grand slam like that. I don't see them being able to drop their cojones like that and pull off a move like that. That's come on. They don't. Hey, let's get real quick. Let me get real saucy before you go. No, seriously though, I don't think they have the nuts to do it. The same way Mark Zuckerberg, people, he has a 1 point something billion people on his platform, and he didn't even drop a stable coin. He didn't drop nothing. He got scared. Yeah. So I'm telling you, Brian, he just bought the most expensive house in the United States. He don't want to play with our government. He's going to go make more money, but not to do anything too drastic. So again, I don't see that as being a buy, but those are my, when Stephen A. and all these people talk who's going to win a championship, but they say unless someone's injured, that's my unless someone is injured. Unless the United States says this is our new Federal Reserve, or another country essentially says that, I just don't see it being the best buy out there. Yeah. Honestly, buy Pepe right now over that. Just keeping it real.
Buy some Shiba, buy some Dino, all these new meme coins that's popping up. Remember, being early is always going to get you something. You may not win, big time, but just be early.
That is true. I'll cover Bhutan, but I know you're about to run out of here. So last comments or anything you got for everybody?
Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Like I said, I got a shirt with words I can't even pronounce. Happy tacos and tequilas. Definitely getting to it after I finish these meetings today. So shout out to everybody. Happy Friday, people.
Hey, I'm buying you a fly swatter of my Bitcoin from them Florida bugs, man.
It's the same because it's light. It's ring light.
He said, "You on TV? You on TV? I'm gonna be on TV. What's up, man? Hey, what y'all doing out there? All right, Bitcoin Zay. I'm gonna holler back at you. I'm gonna finish this last story later.
Sure.
All right. Last but not least, Bhutan is in the news. So we covered them before. This was a surprise to me. Again, I know some folks who actually been to Bhutan and worked there for the kingdom there. Again, traditional, it's an actual kingdom, it's a real kingdom there. So you're looking at, what's the word I'm looking at? I have it in my head. I can't think of the word right now. Feudal, super feudal, right? But Bhutan's DHI and BitDeer to raise $500 million to develop sustainable mining operations. DHI CEO Udwa Deep Daha said that the partnership will contribute to more sustainable domestic economy in Bhutan. So again, Bhutan's been in the news as some of the biggest Bitcoin miners in their region. NASDAQ listing mining company BitDeer Technologies Group and Bhutan's sovereign investment arm, Druk Holding and Investments, DHI, have teamed up to create eco-friendly and carbon-free digital asset mining operations in the Kingdom of Bhutan. In announcements in the Cointelegraph, BitDeer and DHI said they will launch the partnership by creating a closed-end fund with an approximate value of $500 million. The firms aim to start their fundraising efforts at the end of May to attract investments from around the world. It looks like that they expressed enthusiasm about collaborating with BitDeer in the project, of course, and expressed that their goal was to enhance the lives of the Bhutanese people and believes that the partnership with BitDeer is a step toward a more sustainable domestic economy. So this whole thing with Bhutan doing Bitcoin mining, they've been doing it since April of 2018. You can see here when Bitcoin's priced around $5,000. It was discovered that the Himalayan kingdom had been running a mining operation using Bitcoin. I need to kind of reach. I don't have the best relationships with the people who I know working with the government right now. Short version, it's a woman. She's pissed off at me. We know how life goes, folks. But I would love to reach out and kind of talk to figure out how this happened, because from what I do know about Bhutan, like, super isolated, semi-secretive, not doing a lot of stuff with the outside world. So Bitcoin does make sense for their economy and their country. But I guess what I'm surprised about is I guess I'm surprised about how public they're making this, how global they're making this, right? I see why. You want to raise $500 million, you have to let people know about it, right? You can't raise $500 million in secret. But again, they're kind of more secretive and more quiet. So I don't know. I want to know the angle. I don't know the angle here, unless the angle just truly is, hey, so we can be as independent as we always have been. Again, this would make sense for the Kingdom of Bhutan. It makes perfect sense, and it's a perfect breeding ground for Bitcoin. So things do make sense. It's just, again, it came out of left field. You're talking about a super traditional area. You're talking about a kingdom still. So they're not even doing stuff that we're doing right now in the 21st century, right? Like they're not using some of the technologies and doing some of the things that we are doing. The internet, laptops, they're not in mass throughout the country is not happening like that. So again, to see them adopt something that's technological advanced as Bitcoin is super interesting to me. I can't wait to kind of see what happens. And I definitely need to reach out to a couple of folks to see if I can get me some boots on the ground to see exactly what is happening in Bhutan. I'm trying to bring them up again. I brought them up before. Here's a picture of them. I'll show you a quick picture of the Kingdom of Bhutan, at least a photo of some of their mountainous regions here. So here's a picture right here. You can see, like, literally this is how some of the place is on a mountain. As I said, people are not just coming and going to this place. It's very hard to get to. Let me see if I can actually find it on the map. Let's see a good map of Bhutan. They got a bunch of old maps. Bhutan location. Let's see if I can see this on a world map. Kind of right outside the bordering China, India, and that mountainous region. Here we go. All right, I got a map. I'm gonna share this map instead. So here we go. We got Asia right here, folks. Himalaya. That's what Himalaya. I can't say the word. There it is. So you can see here that little Bhutan right under the Asian mark. It has a little arrow there. I'll see if I can actually zoom in for you over here. To the east of the Middle East, south of Asia, right there. So again, small mountainous region near the Himalayas. But again, you're talking about Bitcoin reaching the furthest places of the world. This is what I love. We were just talking about ICOs today. This is why the technology of Bitcoin is important. I look at Bitcoin as a calculator, something we can all use, is because before Bitcoin, if I had a business idea, only people I can reach could be a part of that business, usually only people in the United States. With ICOs and the technology of Bitcoin, with technology of Bitcoin and ICOs, I now can do a business, i.e. like Bhutan, and say, hey, I want to raise $500 million and get money from Bhutan immediately. Do you understand how powerful this is? You have an isolated region who has an isolationist government for the most part, kingdom, still in the feudal system, still doing stuff super traditional. A lot of you all who like some of these modern stuff wouldn't like it there, right? Super traditional place, but I do hear is lovely. They're good, loving people, nice, all that good stuff. But my point is, they're doing stuff super traditional. They don't have the most technology out there. They're super isolated, and now they are available to the world market. You don't need to travel there to do business there. Like, that is incredible. So I'm glad that they're actually doing this $500 million thing, because they're showing the world that, hey, if we're as isolated as Bhutan in the Himalayan mountains and we have a kingdom, like, we're not even doing regular world government shit right now. And if we can do we get $500 million, if we can do business, if we can do banking using Bitcoin, I don't see why a first world country like the US and everyone else can't either. And I don't see why everyone's still talking about the price point of it when you now have the technology, again, to do business with someone in the fucking Himalayan mountains, people. This is crazy, all right? Other than that, that is the show for today. Make sure you smash that like and share. And of course, we will see you all next week with some more Bitcoin news. And really quick, give a quick shout out CBTV, Crypto Blood. What up, though? Make sure you all check out CBTV. He's had a lot of great interviews as of recent. I've been checking them out. So make sure you see that out as well. Other than that, make sure you smash that like and share. And I will see you all next week.